Just wait for YouTube to catch up. There we go. See, it's light now.
Yeah.
You see, see it's wide screen. Look how far it goes. It goes all the way around. I told you.
Yeah, the other one didn't do that.
Wrong of you. So, welcome. We are live. Part 2 of what we were chatting about last week. And so, for those who don't know, they'll be like, what were you chatting about last week? Last week, we were chatting about Black history, but we were picking on the stuff that people don't want to talk about. So we're on that again.
What?
All right. So we're waiting for Tamar will join us from home today because she had to have a COVID test. So they're waiting to see whether it's positive or negative. And anyway, there we go. I'm sure it will be negative anyway.
Yeah.
And it won't really make much difference to me because I don't go anywhere anyway. So I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing.
You've been to the hospital, you've been to the market, you've been to the city centre. So you've gone somewhere.
You've got a serious problem, hasn't it?
Anyway, it is me dragging you, otherwise you'd have gone nowhere. Yeah.
But it's not even that why I'm saying it. You have no etiquette when it comes to live.
Yeah.
Facebook Live, YouTube Live, you must learn some etiquette.
Yeah. What? Tell the truth, nothing but the truth.
Eat some and left some. That's the one. That one you don't know.
No.
So anyway, let's get started in a way. So I want to start talking about modern slavery. Because you know, Black history, as we know, and what we've been saying, we always tend to be talking about the transatlantic slave trade and things which had happened, how many people were transported as slaves and where they came from, etc., which people generally, even with that information, only have half of the information, or maybe some got 3/4, but they usually don't have it correct anyway. We've highlighted some things about that, about the origination of the slaves, the ones who came from Spain, etc., and even the ones who initially were coming out of Africa, they also were Spanish as well. Which means then that even the ones who came after, they would have still been the generations of the same people. So it's not quite exactly how people put it, which is why, just as a matter of interest, I do have a dispute with those DNA tests. Because as far as they're concerned, any black person, as long as you're black or you have black features or you're black looking, the black part of you comes from Africa. It's not necessarily the case, because they're giving the impression that the only place on this earth where black people could have come from is Africa, and that isn't true. Because Africa is where every human in the world originated, but those same Africans, which it wasn't even called Africa at that time, by the way, but I'm not going to get into that. You go and Google and find out what it was called, but it wasn't originally called Africa. But even from the days of the beginning of creation, when humanity was made and everybody lived on the continent, which we now call Africa, they moved out from there and spread across the world, and they were black-skinned like me. The first people, humans in Europe, which we now, when you speak about Europe, people always think of Europe as, the white man's place, the white man's land, or whatever you want to call it. That's what you equate Europe with. If you speak of Europe, you're speaking of white people. That's what you think. Well, the first people in Europe were black. And they came in, which quite obviously straight from Africa. They came straight across North Africa and straight to southern Spain. And many of them stayed there in southern Spain. But the first people to inhabit Europe, they were black people. And same thing with even all these other places where they try to tell you that, you know, where Eskimos are, and Eskimos don't look very white either, because they aren't. Because the first people who went to those places were also black people. First people in America, the indigenous people of the USA, were black, long before the slaves. The slaves were brought there to be slaves. There were people who were already there who were not slaves. But anyway, I don't want to, you know, get too far into that. But well, let's let Tamar in. Oh, so I think somebody else was trying to jump on last week. That's where they came up down there. I don't know who it was because I couldn't see. Yeah, it says it's adding you, Tamar. So
No, not that one.
connecting.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Took up the whole of the screen as well.
Yeah, it's landscape anyway. So I don't know why it's
No, it's not. It's horizontal.
Why is it?
I meant, sorry, horizontal.
Oh, it says we can't do it.
Yeah, no.
It won't allow us. So it's you that's going to have to smile up yourself.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
It
because
doesn't look large.
Because now you've jammed off half the screen, and people won't be able to see us. But on the screen, it's not even showing. It's hardly showing anything.
Oh, yeah, because this is delayed. But it's still, she's took half, so I won't be on it.
Yeah, come and see you.
I took half the screen.
Why does it
Yeah, and it's
directly half it?
it's took exactly half of it. Tamar self-isolated. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Technically, yes, because she had to take a COVID test and we don't know the result. So she's just doing what she needs to do because of other people.
Yeah.
Not really to do with us, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah. Because now the camera is only giving us this portion here.
Yeah.
You see. So it's like it's got that part, just took the rest of the tube
Yeah.
off.
Cut it off.
Mm-mm. Well, I'm here. Everybody can see me. It's all right. Tamar, can you hear? Because all I'm hearing is.
Yeah, and you're very fuzzy. Oh yeah, you're coming clearer now.
Yeah, I don't know why the signal should be so bad. I understood why it was like that when you were in Italy, but don't know why it's like that now.
Yes.
Yeah,
she's saying
yeah.
it's fuzzy.
Yeah, it said it's very fuzzy. It's not very good, is it?
No.
Crackling as well.
Yeah.
Bit of feedback and a distorted sound.
There's no silence in the background.
I understand. But I can hear it though.
I don't know. Don't know what to say about that. I don't know if it's good enough if people can actually hear you speak or not. See, because it's not clear, is it? Well,
Lucy said do the famous turn off and turn back on again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you might have to take my house to switch yourself off and come back in. Reload. Yeah, that's weird. Sorry about that, folks. We're having a little technical hitch. We'll see if it improves. So what were we saying? Well, that part we know. And we did speak about it a bit. That's not really what we're on today, so we're not going to talk about that much. Go back and have a look at some of the other lives. We did mention some things about it before. And maybe we might do something on it totally separately. So, modern day slavery. That's what we want to talk about. Modern day slavery is applicable across the world. Black people are enslaving their own black people. So these are the things that we don't like talking about. But my statistical information here will tell you the continent of Africa is one of the regions most rife with contemporary slavery. Contemporary slavery, just modern day slavery. Slavery in Africa, as we know, has a long history. We know about the Arab slave trade, transatlantic slave trade, Ashanti Empire. Now, when these other guys were really doing their thing, Ashanti and so forth, basically they were fueling the transatlantic slave trade. And that's what they were put there for. There's a long story behind all of that, which again, I'm not going to go into in too much detail, except to say that when you look, I'm wording this very carefully. On the coastal areas of the continent of Africa, as in even in places such as Nigeria on the coasts, Ghana on the coasts, Togo on the coasts, and other places, you find people who are very light skinned in color. And of course, we've got all sorts of reasoning, but the one reason that you've got to understand is very plain and obvious, because they have a different bloodline. And what had happened to fuel the transatlantic slave trade, what was happening was that these countries in Europe, the Caucasian colored people, were sending people there to impregnate and raise children, so that then those children were of a mixed blood. And they knew that, oh, my father or my grandfather is a European. So they felt that they had a superiority to the other blacks. So then they took the other blacks and sold them into slavery, right? So they trained their own children and grandchildren to be the slave traders, right? The slave catchers, to go and catch these other people. That's right, to dilute the blood. So that what they're actually doing is training their own children and grandchildren to go and catch these black people and say, oh, well, you're blacker than me. Which is why until today, and all of us black people, we know it, especially Caribbeans, and you know the same thing, Nigeria, that's why they're busy bleaching out their skin. All across Africa anyway, never mind just Nigeria. Darker skinned women are busy bleaching out their skin. Women and men in Jamaica are bleaching out themselves. You know, I only have to mention, for those of you who know, Vybz Kartel. Simple as that. He doesn't even look like the same person. Right? He's bleached himself until he looks like a different human being. No, yellow man has always been yellow. He was born like that. Yeah. But this is the whole point. That this is all because of this colorism that started when those Caucasian Europeans were going, they put their bloodline in there on purpose. Yeah. So that then those ones, oh, you then know you're superior because you've got the white man's blood. And until today, that same slavery mentality, that mindset is in many, many, many black people. That I've got nigger hair. My hair is bad because my hair is not straight. My hair is difficult. No, your hair is not difficult. You're lazy. All right? Because it just means that you're going to have to take a little bit longer to do whatever it is that you need to do with your hair. You're going to have to take some time and some effort to make yourself look the way you don't want to do that. And you're talking absolute trash and tripe. There are many black women in Africa whose hair is all the way down to their knees. All right? And it isn't straightened out with chemicals and hot combs and all these other things to make to look like a white woman. White women's hair is of a totally different texture and context than a black woman's hair. But again, the slavery mindset that makes you consider that the Caucasian things are better. Now, it's a problem.
The bleaching is serious, and they have deep hatred of their own skin tone because of that mindset. Nappy hair and all this rubbish.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we say foolishness to each other. You're too black. You never hear the Chinese person say you're too Chinese to a Chinese person.
For real.
It's true.
You see, you don't hear that.
No, you don't.
Right? But the reasoning why is because, again, I haven't even got time to go into this. Maybe when I decide and I do something when I do something specifically about bloodlines.
I'm there telling everyone else to turn off the sound of it.
I switched off the other volume, but not the.
What's going on there?
I don't know. Yeah, they're on. It's plugged in.
Oh yeah,
It's like
it must have been loose when you moved that. It came back.
maybe that's what was happening with the picture before.
So, the thing is that.
You know what? The other day, somebody came to my place of work, and they work in the mental health unit, and they said, "Oh my goodness, the worst staff on there are the black people." They said they treat them like poison, and that's your own black brother and your own black sister,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how they are to each
Speak
other,
there.
and that's
Speak
how
to
we
them
are to each other.
and speak a bit louder.
Ridiculous. Yeah, said, and she said she's not going back there. Ever since she's not going back there. She's been working with us, but she said they were horrendous, awful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Awful.
Mm-hmm. Of course, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. This thing that many black people don't want to talk about, don't want to address, and probably don't even want to hear. So they're probably going to turn around and say, here he goes again talking about black issues, the things that black people don't want to talk about. Well, we don't want to talk about. Well, this is the problem, isn't it? Because we don't want to talk about how we treat each other. Yeah. I mean, this is not even where I was beginning, but it is kind of part of it. Because even right here in the UK, the way how we black people treat each other is absolutely atrocious. Absolutely disgusting. What have we got there?
Because these people have been indoctrinated to believe we must always be against each other and it's everyone for themselves.
Yeah, and that's exactly,
That's the mentality.
That's exactly how it works. And I've worked, and in the mental health setting or any health setting, there's lots of black nationalities, Jamaicans, Africans, etc., Indians, and so forth. And I've worked with black people, and I'm telling you now, the staff who I dislike the most were the black ones. Not all, obviously, but the ones who carried on like they were the most superior, the most, I even was going to say a non-Christian film, but anyway, people who know what I mean, they know that they thought their head was somewhere. Those ones are the ones who gave the most trouble.
Yeah.
They are the most unhelpful. They are the most inflexible, and they're your own black people. And you look at them and you think, when I used to be a trainer, one of the things I found with black people is that they are very rude, out of order, disrespectful, to let me use a Jamaican term now, rank, stink, feisty, and out of order. Right? And those of you who know, you know. right? And if I have to put all of that and bright,
What the bright stands for.
same thing, right? All of that together, they were unbelievable. You have a set time for your training. Everybody else will turn up on time. The black people, some of them, they come sauntering in. So I said, yo, I said, what really are you trying to do to me? Oh, give us a chance. Give it. I said, why? I must give you a chance because of what now? Oh, yeah. Give us a chance. I don't know what's going on with this plug today. There's something wrong with this plug here, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's showing that it's plugged in, so let me just do a little check up here. Okay. It says it's fully charged, so we'll leave that out then for a bit. See if that's what the problem was, that it doesn't want the electric.
We'll soon find out.
Temperamental. So anyway, my point now, these guys are turning up late and they think, oh, well, you shouldn't say anything. So I'm like, but why shouldn't I say anything? I said, if I was a white trader, you wouldn't even try me, right? So I said, look, I said, if you're more than 15 minutes late, you won't even speak to me.
Yeah.
They will turn you away at the door. And I just left it like that. I told them, I said, from now on, anybody that turns up to the training more than 15 minutes late, without an exceptional excuse, and they don't have to speak to me about the excuse, they can speak to the admin because we'll have already started.
Yeah.
If it's beyond 15 minutes, we will have started.
I said it's like they're saying because you're black as well, that means you must let them take advantage.
Oh yeah, that's what they used to do. They'd come, they'd be there using their phones in the class, right? While I'm speaking, they're there on their phones. Up one woman, she turned her back like this.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Oh no.
Yeah. Hello. Okay, wait. So I just stopped walking and I just stood there looking. And then she turned, oh. I said, can you give me your phone? Yeah. No. Give me your phone. Let me just hold it for you. I put it there. You can have it back when we're finished.
Yeah.
Right? And this is what I'm talking about. And simply because it's a black man, so let's behave. And then the same people are going behind my back and writing, oh, we don't like this trainer because he's very harsh, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, good. This is black people towards one another because we're nice, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right?
Let them be talking on the
I should let them talk. I should let them disrupt my class. I should let them come in anytime they want. I should let them take 1.5 hour lunch break.
Yeah.
You see me? And then when they finish their training and they don't pass, now another lady, she didn't pass on one of my courses. I failed her. So then she complained and said, oh, I failed her because I fancy her. And I want her to come back to do more training. I'm telling you, black people, you better know yourselves, man, because we're busy pointing the finger, oh, everything else. The white man this and the white man that. Oh, I told them she can't come in my training again. I told them straight. I said, there's no way on this earth. Of course, that's the way they were carrying on. Yeah, she said, oh, I failed her because I wanted her to come back again because I fancy her. Those people, the people I was doing the training for at the time, I went crazy. I told them, I said, listen, I said, if you like, come and sit in my classes from now on. I said, because me, I'm not taking that rubbish. I said, how in the heck does a stupid woman come in my class and talk such nonsense? If she's not good enough, how is that my fault?
Yeah, so that when she goes and performs a rom,
that will be on my name.
When she's supposed to be restraining somebody, and then what happens then?
But you see, this is what I'm talking about. Black people. And we feel that all those things are okay. The most backstabbing people in the world are black people towards each other.
Yeah.
Right? And then when you see one black person, Africans are the worst. followed by Caribbeans, in my personal opinion. When they have a little bit of superiority over another black person, boy, Jesus, you're going to know they're going to drill you into the ground. You are their slave for life.
You remember when we nearly got left by our flight in Jamaica?
Mhm.
Now, what did that man say?
Oh, yeah, listen. Hear the joke of it. There was a mix-up with our flight when we were to leave from, was it Kingston? Montego Bay or Kingston? Where was it?
No, Montego Bay.
Montego Bay, isn't it?
Montego Bay, yeah.
Montego Bay. So what happened now? They told us, okay, you go do whatever, but we'll let you know. So we did not hear anything.
There was no announcement.
We didn't hear any announcement. The only announcement I heard was that if you passenger
John Chambers,
Jay and Sarah Chambers, if you don't come immediately, we will begin removing your luggage from the plane, blah, 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 blah. So we've rushed now. Everybody else is on the plane. So there's some Jamaicans, black people like me. And some of these don't know, they've never been on a flight in their life. All they're doing is cleaning the airplane and loading suitcase. Some little coconut head idiot standing there, but actually it was me, and I met the plane left here. I said, look at you. I said, I bet you've never flown anywhere in your life, have you? I said, and you're busy telling me about the plane should leave me. I said, well, you're not the pilot, you're not the captain, so best you shut your mouth. You see? And you talk like that too. I said, well, what about you?
Exactly. That we should have been left.
And this is our problem. You see, because you already know, if that captain of that plane was black, you already know we'd have to be sleeping in Montego Bay. As far as he's concerned, we should never get on another flight. That's your problem. Black people, we need to fix up ourselves, man. We treat each other like trash and think that it's okay because, well, I'm the one with the upper hand. When the black man has the upper hand, you have to suffer. This is the problem. You see? And all this that I'm talking about, people don't want to address this. They don't want to go there. This subject is too hard for them. They want to pretend that black people don't behave like that. They do. They're disgusting.
That's why it happens how it happens even in Africa. Because the ones who are in leadership, they make sure they instigate the corruption and steer it so hard so that they are always, pinching and I don't know what is oppressing the poor people. Always.
Mm-hmm.
So the country never progresses and they're always in poverty because what they want to do, they want to keep on begging and saying how we are poor or we need funds and resources for this. And why can't you just grow up and feed your own country and do what everybody else does? Why do you have to get World Health Organization coming to put this and the resources are there galore?
Because they're feeding themselves first. What's the
Tamar. Oh, she was just agreeing with the thing about Africans and their Caribbeans when it comes to enjoying their authority too much.
Oh yeah.
And then she's put how disrespectful and rude for him to even say such a thing. He's saying that but can't see his own rudeness.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I can't see that.
He would have said, "Shall I help you on the plane, master?"
Oh yes, yes, Kaveen, exactly that. Listen, I've told this story before, but
Yes. Emirates. Is that the one you want to say?
Yeah. So then give me a chance, come on.
God.
So now you guys can see why we don't bring Sarah on here anyway, right? You see. It's okay, you can tell that story.
No. You tell a good story. God. The floor is yours.
No, but you see, we've gone to Emirates, right? To change our
No, we're going to
confirm
our flights, yeah.
So we sat there. There was a good number of people there. One white man was amongst us, and the rest of the people waiting were all black. And the people, the customer service assistants or whatever they're called there, were black Kenyans. So we sat there. Everybody took their little ticket with a number on it. So even the white man, he has his ticket with a number. And me, I'm very observant, and I'm already just like, this is taking long. So I'm looking around, and I hear one of the guys, psst, 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 and he's doing it to the white man. So I've looked at him just to make sure that it's the white man that is doing it at first before I say anything. When I've clocked and realized, yes, it's him. So I've said to the guy behind the desk, what are you doing? Sat back now up in his chair. I said, what are you doing? I said, you're calling the white man, aren't you? He's nearly dying now because he dare not even answer me. And me, I'm on top of my voice. So why are you calling that white man? Have you seen his ticket? Do you know what number he has on his ticket? No answer. He's just now he's trying to look straight ahead and act like he thinks of it. I said, let me tell you. I said, you're here bowing and scraping down to that white man like he's something special more than us, right? You want to be there kissing his ass because he's white. I said, I'm telling you now, he's not going to come and sit there because he's not the next in line by number, and he will not sit there today unless you want to see madness inside this place. I said, if you want to take him and you want a bride from him, go in the back, right? I said, but he's not sitting out here. But hear the joke of it, because he knew what he wanted, the white man and him went in the back. I'm not even joking.
Yeah. Because they can't
He got up from there and he went and he still called the white man in the back.
And then how do you expect corruption and things like that to end? They can't.
And after that, he couldn't come and sit back there.
Yeah.
Because when the white man finished from the office and he looked out, I said to him, if I was you, I wouldn't come back out here because you're not going to sit there and serve the next person, not you.
Yeah, a friend of mine said they applied for their Kenyan passport and they were told it's not going to be ready until next year, August. Where are they printing it in? In Indonesia or somewhere like that?
They're printing it in the moon and sending it back.
Do you know they paid 10,000 Kenyan shillings and it was there that week? In 2 days, they had their passport.
Right? And all of this is how we black people are treating each other. Even in Jamaica, it was the same story. When we turned up at Jamaica and we arrived late because of what was the reason now? Something with the plane, wasn't it?
Yeah, something was wrong with the plane because we stayed in Manchester for a while. It's the fuel.
For about an hour and a half, so or 2 hours. We left 2 hours late.
Yeah.
So we arrived late in Jamaica, and when we arrived,
And it's Thomas Cook. That's what
when we arrived, we told them, look, we have got to connect. We've got to catch a coach.
Yeah.
Right. So the immigration guy is there with his face all twisted up. Right. And he's looking at me as if I don't belong. I said, where do you think I come from? I said, you think I don't know Jamaica? He's just there looking. Can't smile. That is all. But you don't have the full address of your sister on here. We need the full address, or it's invalid. I said invalid. I said I could have even put Mickey Mouse Hotel on there, right? No. You go and get the right thing. You go over there and you make a call and get the full information and put it, and then you come back. And I told him, I said, yeah, I said, that coach is going to leave us. He said he don't care. This is what I'm talking about, black people. So I had to ring my sister and get the other little bit of the address that was missing, just to satisfy Mr. Black foolish idiot who feels that he's got a little bit of power that he has to exercise over the top of my head, right? So then I had to come back now, give him that right, blah 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 blah. And he's giving, and then we're getting our entry. So now by the time we've messed around and done all of that foolishness, look at what's gone. So we had to scramble around and get a taxi and get the taxi to run down the coach.
Yeah.
And by the time we got the taxi, and trust me, you think the coaches drive like they do here? The taxi driver was flying like an aeroplane. And we had to drive far to catch that coach.
Oh my gosh, we were driving for 1 hour.
What? The coach was making it, man.
To catch the bus.
You couldn't catch that coach like that. And the taxi driver was flying.
Yeah, he was.
And all because of one little black idiot and his super officious, no. I will not flex for you.
And you know, the coach just left us. We were going in, and the coach was just leaving. So if we had gone past immigration as we were supposed to, we'd have got the coach.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What famous said there about something about pocket money?
Oh yeah, they actually take them in because all they're looking for is a bribe, a bit
Yeah.
of pocket money.
Yeah, I bet you the Mickey Mouse address would have sufficed.
Who said that?
Me.
Yeah. Because when I went to the States one time, and I hadn't put the hotel, the immigration guy told me. This is what I'm telling you, where there are people who actually have a mental problem. That's why you have to understand that slavery mentality is just as bad as if I put the chains on you. But that slavery mentality that is in so many Africans and Caribbeans, it is a big problem, a very big problem. I was in the States and I hadn't put the hotel thing. The immigration guy, and this is the same people, the guy behind the desk, the immigration guy said, you know what you need to do? Have you got a phone? He said, just Google a hotel and write it in now. And I did it right in front of him. He saw me doing it. I just Googled the nearest local hotel and wrote the address in, and he stamped the thing and said, on your way. A black one in Jamaica or Africa, or now 5 hours later, I still have to be standing there. And if I'd Googled and done that, oh, that's a problem, that's fraud, and it's this and it's that, or you know, we have to find another way, you know, hint. You see, black people have a problem. And they don't want to talk about those things. They want to act like we're nice. Or whenever there's a problem, it isn't us, it's the white man's fault. Well, that was a white immigration officer in the States who dealt with me like that. So how about that?
Yeah.
Right? But some of the black idiots in Africa and the Caribbean, they want to treat you like trash because they feel they have a little power over you. You see? And it's not unless you're a money man or something. Now you see, one another time when I went to Jamaica, I went VIP, right? Oh, you want to see the difference? Hey, if them could have kissed my shoes bottom, they would have kissed it. You should have seen how they were carrying on then. I didn't have to stand in the line. I didn't have to fill out what the woman took. I'll fill it out for you. She filled out all the paperwork for me, took my documents, carried it. You just come with me. You know, I'm just following behind her. Bam! No queuing, no rankness, no nothing. Right? So you have to know. But now all of a sudden, when you're just the same as everybody else as they feel, ooh, you're in trouble. Because you're nobody. And they can be ranked like nothing else. Like I said, it wasn't even necessarily part of our topic today as such. But it is, because it's the mindset of black people, of how they treat one another. They are the worst in their behavior towards each other. And then everything is always about the white man this, the white man that, the Europeans this, blah, 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 every other thing. But you're not looking at how you treat one another.
Yeah.
Some of the worst treatment that I ever had in any time in my life was right there in Kenya from black Africans who just the same skin color as me. They treated me like shit.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that for some people, but that's exactly what it was. They treated me like shit.
Why? Say why they treated you like shit. Because they
called me a black Muzungu, black white man. Muzungu is Swahili for white, or white man, so to speak. They said I'm a black white man because I didn't come from there, so they despised me. All these kind of things, slavery mentality.
Thomas said, this is the same narrative everywhere. Unless you are of a certain caliber, they treat you trash. That's why mom had to tell the female server at the hotel, am I not white enough to get my tea? As the lady purposely served the white people in the restaurant first.
All these stuff, things. You see, and then what they feel like now when you jump up and you start talking and telling them, they're like, no, you're this and you're that. Same thing in Kenya. I put my money in the bank, right? Standard Chartered Bank. I deposited millions of Kenyan shillings in that bank. right? And deposited it correctly, because when you deposit, they're going to ask you
Where did it
for
come
evidence,
from?
where did it come from, etc., etc. I did all of that correctly. They had all my information, all my ID, passport information, driving license, everything. They had all the information. So good. 2 weeks later, I've gone now to collect some of the money. Not all, some of my own money that I put in the bank. And it didn't even originate in Kenya. Am I on it? Right? So hear them now. Oh, we don't know if you'll be able to get that money today. I said, really? I said, are you okay? I said, you don't know if I'll be able to get my own money today. I said, are you okay? I said, have you run out of money? No, it's not that.
What is it?
So I said, so what is it then? No, it's, well, we can't discuss it just like that. I said, really? And this is how they were carrying on. Oh, we can't discuss it just like that, blah, blah, blah. I said, get me the manager now. Oh, would you like to speak to? I said, no, I don't want to speak to anybody. Get me the manager now. So now they got the manager, because now I'm making a whole heap of noise inside there. So the manager, oh, okay, come into my office. Blah, 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 some big old long story. I said, yeah. I said, you know what? I said, right now, whosoever you need to get from out there, bring them come. I'm closing my account and removing all the money. I will not leave even a shilling inside this bank 1 second longer. Right? Shut the door. So he's like, oh, are you sure that there's nothing that we can do to? I said, no. I said, I've just had to go there and stand at the till, right? For that embarrassment of them telling me I can't remove my own money, like I'm some kind of criminal or whatever it may. I said, that's out of order, right? I said, I'm not having that. I said, no. I said, you get me more, and it was proper amount of millions. I had to get someone to bring their handbag. Well, anyway, some women's handbags are big anyway. And we had to load all of the money inside the handbag. And she was nearly dying. She's like, how do I walk? I said, well, nobody knows what you've got in your handbag. It's only you that you know that that's what we've put in there. I said, and we're going right now directly to another bank to redeposit in another bank anyway. And so we walked out of there with the millions inside her handbag and deposited it in another bank. Right? But why all of that? Simply because they have to be black idiots. You know, simply because, and there's no need for it. Absolutely no need for that kind of behavior. But it comes always from these same kind of, you know, colonized minds that they think, oh, this is the way how we should behave, you know? No.
Yeah, because instead of seeing your black brother or sister excelling, and you support them, so that they, once they're in a good position, you never know, they could employ your sister, your cousin later, because at least you supported them. No, you make sure you sabotage them big style. So even they get sacked and everything.
Yeah. Same thing I saw in Kenya. I went again to another place to withdraw. Your signature doesn't look the same. I said, are you okay in your brains? And I had
I can tell you now, not one of my signatures is like the last one.
I had all my information. I had passport with me, I had driving license with me, and I had even the card from the bank with my signature. It looks slightly different on one of them, blah, 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 I don't know what on what. I said, really? I said, really? I said, you're gonna start with that rubbish now. And the woman behind the till, she would not move 1 inch. The guy next to her, because then I said to her, I'm not speaking to you again, because if I speak again, I'm going to tell you what you don't really need to hear. Please go away. The guy next to, he said, I can't do anything. He said, if I began before her, I would be able to. He said, but what she's saying is nonsense, and she can give you the money, but he said she won't. And do you know, I took exactly the same check. I didn't change the signature. I didn't write another check, because remember, it was my own check that I'm cashing for my money. I didn't write another check. I took the same check. I went to another branch with the same check and I got the money. So you tell me what's wrong with these people?
Emma said everyone is too used to trampling on each other to get higher than the rest. And that's why Samuel L. Jackson's part in Django was so iconic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every black person who understands black people properly, they understood he's wrong there.
Yeah.
Everybody. And there's not one person who didn't want to juke him in his eye with a stick. You know? Because, you know, everybody understood very well. Huh? Oh my God, he was awful. So let me give you some more stats about this modern slavery.
Yeah.
So slavery exists along racial and cultural boundaries. And most nowadays involves human trafficking, child soldiers, enslavement, child laborers. So you've got human trafficking in Angola, human trafficking of children in Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Gabon, and Cameroon.
Wow.
And the exploitation of laborers. So although it's been banned worldwide, all these places still have slaves. Sudan, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Uganda, Congo, Niger, Mauritania, Ghana, Togo, Benin. In Benin, there is a form of forced religious prostitution known as trokosi. Ritual servitude forcibly keeps thousands of girls and women in traditional shrines as wives of the gods, where the priests perform the sexual function in place of the gods. You see? Now you imagine you've got stupid idiot parents who are sending their daughters to go there to be the wife of the gods. So that dirty, nasty priest can be there handling that young girl or that woman as, oh, I'm performing the rites of the gods. You see? And the family, they're sending their children there for that.
They've designed that for themselves. Because why do gods want to be doing that?
Right? Yeah, they've designed it for themselves in a way, yes, but also this is the spirits that will enter those priests.
Yeah.
You see? So you've got to look at it from that perspective as well. That it does have a spiritual dimension, but it's all evil.
Yeah.
Because those girls didn't go there willingly and say, yes, please. Right? You remember last week we spoke about female genital mutilation.
Yeah.
And if those who can look on my Facebook page, and I'll give you evidence about where it's going on in Kenya right now.
Yeah.
Right now, in the month of September and October. And they put Tamar's page as well. And then Angelica's page. Because I tagged you, I don't know who else I tagged in it, but I tagged a few people. And it's going on right now. September, October. They thought it would have finished in September, but why they even thought it would finish? It should have never started.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But they've carried it on even into the month of October. And it's the same tribal people chopping up these girls. And if you even look at the instruments that they're using, you have to be scared.
I bet you someone sterilized God.
You have to be scared. It's the mentality of people.
Yeah.
You see? So, forced. Oh my God, yes, foolishness. So there's also forced labor, which now you see a lot of black people, they think that the forced labor is okay. They don't think that that's slavery. You know, they'll pick some kid and pretend to the family, oh, you know, we feel sorry for you as a family. You've got so many children, and you know some of them are hungry and blah blah blah. Let your daughter come and work for us in the house. And when they get that girl there, they treat her like an animal.
Like an animal.
Like an absolute animal.
I'm telling you, Cinderella, completely.
Worse than.
She'll be cleaning, she'll be cooking, she won't even be allowed to study.
Because at least the Cinderella story wasn't. At least the Cinderella story was a white man's story.
And she can't be
Let that be written by black people, and there's no happy ending coming out of it. And even the story itself would have been worse, right? Because in there, Cinderella wasn't getting no beating.
Yeah, and being raped by the husband of the house.
And his sons and all these
Yeah.
things.
She
And
said
these,
friends and the birds are nice.
right? These are all the type of things that are happening with house helps and stuff. You know, I know personally of stories where girls have gone to a home in Kenya. When I say girl, I mean we're talking young ladies, young whatever, but they're still young people, you know, gone there to work. All they're doing at the end of the day is trying to make a living for themselves and maybe help their family. Right? So now they've gone there to do the work. That work means maybe cooking, cleaning, washing, and helping with one or two other things that may come up around the house. It does not mean opening your legs for the husband of the house, opening your legs for the sons of the house. That wasn't part of the job description, right? But then now one place where I've known of, the lady was sent to sleep in the same bedroom as the sons. So now the oldest son, in the middle of the night, he's waking up and he's satisfying himself with that lady. So the younger brother is now watching and knows this was happening. When he reaches an age, then he starts. What a surprise. If she comes out of there and sleeps on the sofa, the husband of the house is satisfying himself with the same girl. This is black people to black people. We're talking all Africans. The house help is an African. The man who's doing the nastiness is an African. His son is an African. There's no white man involved in that. You understand? Right? This is what is really going on. And people don't want to talk about it. And it's regular.
Yeah.
It's regular. It's not just a once in a while thing here and there. It is regular. Oh, can you send so and so to come to my house to come and do my ironing? The girl is doing the ironing. The man is busy feeling up the girl.
Yeah.
Or,
Do you people like to pretend that they're helping the families, but really they're destroying the young girls in multiple ways and just helping themselves?
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why you even put the story, you put the about the whole a child who is the family that's
Pakistan.
they're supposed to be looking after her, and instead the man of the house is raping her and impregnating her and taking her for an abortion when it's too late and now she's dead. These are the things that are happening.
But they don't care that young girl is dead. They don't actually, they don't care. See, and this is what I'm saying. And this is happening a lot. Black people, the stories are there, one after the other, after the other. All these stories that they can tell you, oh, so-and-so did this to me and so-and-so did that to me. You see? And this is the history of black people. The things about black people we don't want to talk about.
Yeah. Because like now, whatever is happening in those Middle Eastern countries, it shouldn't be happening. No African people should be going to work there and
I'm
be
coming to that.
enslaved.
I'm coming to that.
The
Stop.
way they're enslaved.
Just wait.
at the
Coming to
moment.
that. We're systematic.
Yeah.
So don't rush ahead.
Yeah.
Because we've got plenty of statistics and information. I'm
Discuss
coming
what's going
to
on.
the Saudi story. Let me finish with the forced labor.
Yeah.
Forced labor is defined as work or services which people are forced to do against their will under the threat of some form of punishment. All right. So we're talking, as you know, that, okay, you may have somebody come to work for you, but work is limited to a certain specific number of hours, and it's limited also to what kind of pay you have on offer to give to that person. But now all of a sudden, when you're in forced labor situation, completely different story. All right. And so we're talking about places like Cape Verde, Sao Tome, which we know those were the places where the Portuguese took the black people ready for them to become slaves anyway. So this is something that's gone on over years from 1490s. So it's become foundational. Foundational both spiritually and literally physically. Because from those times they were taking them out of Portugal, out of southern Spain, and they put them in those places ready to be enslaved later. So the slavery mentality and mindset has been in those places from 1490s until today. And now you would think, oh, we're all black, we're the same, so we'll treat each other better. No, they're still treating them the same way.
Worse than before.
If I'm higher than you and you're lower than me, you'll be my slave. And I'll treat you worse even than how even some of the white men would have treated you. You see? I said you this thing, it does this and it gets on my nerves.
Oh, it's deleted them. It's a good thing there's a backup.
I don't know why it keeps doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do that.
I did that the other day to my notes.
I don't know why it does that. So there's much more, but I'm just cutting through it because
Oh, go on. Good.
So now this is the latest thing here. Today, in the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, the indigenous people, which are the indigenous people would be the pygmies.
Yeah.
DRC, the real indigenous people of DRC are the pygmies.
Yeah.
Because DRC originally was all forest. And the pygmies were the ones living out in the forest. The other people who came in were the Bantu. Right? The Bantu are bigger in height and size than the pygmies. And also bigger, in terms of finance and every other thing.
Yeah.
So what they do now, they subjugate the pygmies by absolute force and force them into forced labor. They use the women for sex, and they use the men basically in whichever way they want. And I mean, like I said, go Google and you can look for the statistics. It's all there. There was a program even that was made recently. There was a white lady, I think she's either English or Australian, I can't remember. And she'd gone to a pygmy village and stayed there a while. And while they were there, one of these Bantu slave owners came to the village to collect some people and said, I own them. And she was like questioning, how do you own them? He said, because they're of the same family and my family has owned their family for X amount of years. So as long as they're born into that family, we own them.
Oh, gosh.
The Bantus are forceful and awful towards the pygmies in every way.
Yeah. And the guy said, well, if they don't come with me now, I will just start shooting them because I own them. I can do with them what I want. And remember, there's all people who all look the same. It maybe other than people understanding that maybe, the pygmy guy is a bit smaller in size, you wouldn't know any difference between them. They all just look like they come from a certain part of Africa.
Sounds like they want this genocide.
You see? He says, we must work for the Bantu masters. We cannot refuse to do so because we are likely to be beaten or be victims of insults and threats, or at worst killed. Even though we agree to work all day in the field, we are still asked to work even more. For example, to go to fetch firewood or go hunting. And most of the time, all they give us in pay is a worn loincloth after working for 10 days. And we cannot refuse because we have no choice because we are owned. So you see, that's one. Let me give you another one. The child slave trade in human trafficking in Nigeria, Benin, and Togo. Children are kidnapped or purchased for between 20 and 70 US dollars. Have you ever heard such nonsense in your life? Between 20 and 70 US dollars. So for next to nothing, right? This is not the transatlantic slave trade or the Arab slave trade or the what. This is black man doing this to black man. That's what you got to understand. This is the nice black history that you don't want to talk about, right? We just want to be jumping up and down and blame everything on Trump and Biden and whoever else we can blame it on. Trump and Biden haven't got nothing to do with this, right? Or you turn around and say, well, that doesn't affect me because I don't live in Africa. Okay, but you're calling yourself an African American. Why? You're calling yourself African Caribbean. Why? Me, I'm not African Caribbean. I'm Spanish because I know my roots. Just because you don't know yours, that's your business. So call yourself an African if you like. And I've got no disrespect against African. I'm married to one right here.
And Kenya, no.
Right? She's a Kenyan. She's an African. You understand? So I don't have any problem with that. That's not the issue at all. I'm not going with this something to do. It's having key far.
I can't remember that word.
Well, you make it easy not to.
Of course. So imagine the small little foolish money that they're selling them for, 20 to 70 US dollars.
Yeah.
And they're sold into sex dens, or they're sold as, and obviously, and that's not just girls, by the way, it can be the boys too. Because you have a whole, but anyway, let me not even go down that road. Let me just say it is not just the females. Let me not say more. Right? Work out the rest for yourself. So, exactly. $350 each in wealthier oil-rich states such as Nigeria and Gabon. All right. Then, of course, we know the infamous story of Boko Haram,
Yeah.
kidnapping 276 female students. 50 of them escaped, but the remainder did not. Some of them became wives. They were pregnant. They had children, and so forth. And they basically were sold into slavery and so forth and so forth. We spoke already about the ritual servitude of the, and that doesn't just happen there. It's also in Ghana and in Togo, the same thing. So estimated there are 40.3 million men, women, and children who are victims of modern day slavery. And this was only referenced about 4 years ago. 40.3 million worldwide is a lot. 24.9 million in forced labor and 15.4 million into forced marriage. Women and girls are vastly overrepresented in modern slavery, and most of it is forced marriage and sexual trafficking. Prevalent in Africa, followed by Asia and the Pacific region. So particularly Eritrea and Mauritania. And this is why when people are wondering, for those who didn't know, they'll find lots of refugees from Mauritania and from Eritrea. Lots of Eritrean refugees are here in the UK, and lots here in Leeds.
Yeah.
And people, oh, why are they here? Why are they here? Because of modern slavery.
Yeah.
That's why so many of the Eritrean women are here, because they've ran away from these things, either from being sold into forced marriage or into sexual exploitation. And that's why they've had to run. And then you see, it's so easy for people who bury their heads in the sand, who don't know anything about what's going on. Why are they here? Why have we got all these bloody immigrants? Why? Oh, God, I've had enough. Why are they here? Why are they here? Well, this is the reasons why. You see? And what you need to know, that some of the same people, the same caliber of people who are busy here saying, why are they here, are the same ones who go to those countries and are then going to the sex dens.
Yeah.
That's what you got to understand. It's the same caliber of people.
Yeah.
They're complaining about it. We don't want them here, blah, blah, blah. And they're the same caliber of people who are then going and enjoying themselves, in those places.
Yeah.
Because it's okay when it's in that country and it's all right to do whatever you're doing over there. And then we come back here and pretend to be a model citizen. May pestilence reach them where they are. So you see, and it's been a problem for a long time. They also have national I'll get the word out in a minute. Conscription. So they're forcing children to become soldiers
Yeah.
and just die off at a young age. Forced to work, forced to sex, and forced to kill. So you see, this is a thing that's and this is our own people who look like us doing this to one another. Lots of women in Libya, Nigerian women are there as prostitutes, etc. And again, there's all these Libyan men. Oh, we're all Muslims. We're very pious, good, and correct Muslims, really, until you go to the sex dens, and then you're having sex with Nigerian, Ghanaian, and Togolese women who are there by force. Animals. You see? And they're all Africans. Because even the Libyans, who are they? No, this the Middle East. Middle East, my foot back.
I keep saying
It's Africa.
that there's no such thing.
Middle East, my foot back. And that's maybe also gives them an excuse to treat. It gives them an excuse to treat other Africans worse because they think that they don't come from the same place. We're superior.
Well, if you look at the countries of Africa, they are there. So they're Africans. They're not in the Middle East.
She said they don't want them here, they only want them over there to enjoy, but England must stay English and proper.
Exactly. That's it. They complain when they're here, but then they're the same warmongers who are going there.
Yeah.
And I use that word correctly and deliberately. They are whoremongers. Because that's exactly, in fact, there is even a website called whoremongering. Yeah. You'll be shocked if you look up the information of the rubbish that they're doing. Yes, it's real. It's real. So many Nigerian women go to Italy, sex trafficking. They go to Russia. Russia's lax visa rules allow them to pimp Nigerian women, and then they can then get into Nigeria and they move on through there. Now, unfortunately, some of it has to do with economical mindset, a warped economical mindset, because what they will do, they will think, and they also are advised that way by evil people. Oh, you'll only have to do this for a short while. I know it's not the best of life, it's bad, but you won't do it for long because actually when you get into Europe, you will be able to soon go to the UK and go to France and Germany and all of this. So they tell them that because those are the places where they want to go. They actually want ultimately to end up going to Holland, to France, to Germany, or the UK. So they tell them, oh yeah, move through Russia, pimp yourself. You know what I mean? Get yourself a pimp and sell off your body for a little while and get some money, and then you'll get to the UK or you'll get to think. With the Nigerians in particular, majority of them is to come to the UK. And if they don't hit UK, they try Germany.
Yeah.
And the German immigration and police are rough. They challenge you on the street if you're black. Where's your visa? Where's your passport? Just if they see you on the
You
street.
have to walk with it everywhere.
Yeah, they do.
But that's not surprising anyway.
And there should be no surprise because we know Germans have a certain track record. It's in the blood. There's water. Yeah, get me some. Or just get it and I'll just have some. It's warm. So you see, these are some of the things that are hard to talk about. We've talked a while anyway. I told you we'd be lucky if we don't do a part 3 because it's a lot of things.
Yeah, it is.
You know.
What's going on with that?
So you imagine in Libya, they were being auctioned off. Sarah, close the fridge. They were being auctioned off in car parks. Yeah, car parks. I did ask for some of the water. I can't get it. Part 3, Tamar. Yes, we could. Maybe. We'll see how we go because, we're already on over an hour here as it is. And I don't really think I want to necessarily speed it up just to try to drill it off. And plus, they said it's Black History Month, so that means that one.
Yes,
That, isn't
you've
it?
got next week left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So we'll see.
So a week of October left.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, of course, one other thing which people know is all about the mentality of slavery. It's, the slavery mentality, if you want to call it that, or the slavery mindset. We know that the so-called developed world wants Africa to stay in poverty.
Mm.
And they've said it. I can play for you evidence of that they have said it. Or you go and look for yourself, Google, and you'll find enough information. They specifically, deliberately, and absolutely want Africa to stay in poverty.
Yeah.
So as a result of the fact that they want Africa to stay in poverty, the poverty mentality, the poverty mindset, the spirit of poverty brings with it slavery and servitude.
Yeah.
It's part of it because in order for people to stay in poverty, it means that they must work and not get paid, or they must work and be paid next to nothing. Right? That's part of how it works.
Yeah.
So, and we know that there are a vast amount of resources in Africa, which are looked at by the developing countries, and they're saying, well, we want that, we need that, but we basically don't want to pay for it, or we want to pay next to nothing. And there are 354 billion US dollars worth of at-risk products annually imported out
Of Africa.
or exported out of Africa, imported into the G20 nations. 354 billion US dollars annually. And you already know that the profit of the 354 billion US dollars is not staying in Africa.
Yeah.
Right? That's why you can have people like Mugabe, who was running down his country while he was alive and doing this, that, and the other, and he can be owning properties in the UK and they don't have a problem.
Yeah.
They've put him under sanctions, but they're not sanctioning his money to buy property in the UK.
Yeah.
This is the joke of all of this. And we black idiots
Can't see it.
we can't see our way through that.
Yeah.
Because get the white man out of there because they're not good for our countries and they shouldn't be there. Yeah, we don't need them.
Yeah, they don't need them, and that's why South Africa looks the way it looks like, isn't it? Today, because they were there and they put their influence in it. Because you see, this is the problem we've got. Look at England. And I'm not saying there's no corruption here or things like that. But when you go, the roads are done, you complain and complain because there's one-way systems and there's roadworks. But I'm telling you, the infrastructure is up notch. You go, the lights, everything. And every time when you go to Africa, in Kenya, how many times were we there and there was no lights in the house? Ridiculous. There's no water, there's no lights.
When we're driving on the road,
you can't see nothing.
See where you're going. No cat's eyes.
No.
Listen, they made. I had to laugh. In Kenya, they made the street signs. When they did the new super highway, as they called it, and they made new street signs. The people went and pulled down the street signs, right, and to go and build their houses with it. This is what I'm talking about. Pulling down the street sign to go and build your yard. So this is the problem.
Yeah.
This is the problem.
Yeah, but this is the problem you get because you see the people who are doing such things when countries come and offer to get rid of the slums and build them free housing and sewerage and everything in there, and the people get an accommodation living for free. What does the African government say? No, they have to be charged. These people can't even get 50p in a day, and you're charging them £200 per month for rent. Where are they getting it? And they can't get 50p for one day.
But they left them living there anyway,
Yeah.
as they were. But once they're going to get something decent, no, they don't want to.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. It's the black man doing that to them, to each other, because they, again, because it all begins at that same spirit, the
Yeah.
spirit of poverty,
Mhm.
and they want that spirit to prevail. Exactly,
Yeah.
it'll be the same people saying it.
Yeah, and there's no right.
What
They're
happened?
the ones that took them.
What's happened to the infrastructure of this country and all this
Mm.
type of thing? They're the same people.
Yeah.
Of
They're
course.
given money to build roads. They
Half goes on the road.
one layer of tarmac, but within 2-3 months, it's gone back to normal. Potholes like this, doof, 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 doof,
And the rest of the money is already gone
in somebody's pocket.
somewhere.
Big and fat.
That's why you see them all. He has a mansion and he has a ranch and he has a this and he has a that. And it's always the same story. All the black countries are with the same kind of behaviors. Definitely there'll be a part 3 because I know where we'll get to with this. I said we're going to keep ourselves now to about an hour and a half
Yeah.
because it's hard on us as well. We do talking too.
Yeah.
You know. And also that way it leaves us. We have some information for the next time too. But we've got plenty still.
You can't finish with this subject.
No, next time we'll have to try and finish it on part 3. You know, but there's a lot because also it is an emotive subject.
Yeah.
And yes, I know there might be not that many people who are interacting and saying much, but again, that none of that bothers me
Yeah.
because I only share truth and reality. And so again, as I always say, for whoever will watch this, whether now or afterwards, go and check what I say and see if I'm telling any lies.
Yeah, because we are the ones who have to change it.
Challenge me
Because-
anytime you're ready.
If it's not changed by somebody, it will continue for generations and generations to come.
Like it has been.
Yeah, like it has been. Because it's no different. You had people even with house helps even in my own country. I'm not talking about other countries because I've never been there. In my own country, and you've got spare rooms on the outside. That's how rich you are. You've got spare rooms with nobody sleeping in there, and your house help is sleeping on a torn mattress on a kitchen floor.
Mhm.
And these are the things people do to one another.
And this is black people doing to black people.
Yeah.
And those have been seen with these two eyes.
Yeah.
It's not somebody else's story. We saw it. We saw it.
So how can you even educate somebody like that who you're, what do you call it, oppressing at that standard and that condition to ever think differently or do something different with somebody else? Because they have been taught that they were oppressed like that, so that even when they've got a little bit of anything for themselves, they go and do exactly the same because that's how they have lived and they've never known any different. And that's all they know. And it's very sad, very sad.
Tamar there said,
Yeah.
"Look, we have to be the ones to change the narrative."
Yeah.
Yes, we do. And that's the reason why we do this every week. And I know there's some people, he's not there again with another.
Yeah, but they keep on complaining that
What's
they
he
don't have to
moaning
do
about
anything.
this time?
Yeah, they don't have to watch it because they are the ones who want these conditions to keep on staying like that. Because we are talking for a reason. Because if we don't change it in our generation, who's going to change it? Because at the end of the day, you keep on talking like that, and it's your child who will be in a situation like that. Because not everybody will be able to be rich or have everything in the future. And some of those people will be your relatives, your cousins, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews being in positions like that.
This next
So-
generation,
I'm scared for them.
Yeah, it's a
Because I don't- because they're all selfish and it's
Yeah.
all dog eat dog. We're going to come on to the British ones next week.
I don't know anything, but I think I know everything.
When we'll talk about the British ones next week, trust me. Talk about them, the roadman, them, and all of them there, and what they think they know, what they think they're doing, until it gets them into jail and out of jail. And when they come out of jail, they're vexed with everybody,
Yeah, like it was anybody else as well.
you know. So, but we'll talk about
Yeah.
the roadman next week.
because it's such a pain. Because if everybody refused to to pay a bribe to get their passport. Soon everybody will be getting a passport one day. Because if nobody was bribing them,
But
they
that's not
wouldn't do
happening though.
anything.
It's not happening.
Yeah. But now if you don't bribe them, if you've been in, you've got a through and you've got even a university to go to, how do you get there? Because your passport is being held by an immigration, officer, and because you have to bribe them to get your own passport, which is your right, and you have paid the amount that you were supposed to pay, and you're being told it's coming next year in August. What rubbish!
Yeah, the selfish nature of this up and coming generation is scary, and it's only pushing humanity further down.
Yeah.
That means that. So let's go on to the the situation in the Arab states.
He started with that one.
Because maybe that's probably where we'll finish, and then next week we'll talk about maybe the Caribbean and what's going on there in the Caribbean and the UK.
Yeah.
So the Arab states now, they have got currently 17.6 million migrant workers. So they've got basically 1/10 of all migrant workers in the whole world are in the Arab states.
Wow.
And why is that? Because the Arab, they're lazy, right? They're lazy. So they want people to be doing everything for them.
And those countries are what? Jordan, Dubai.
So you'll read,
Wow.
wait, you'll read that even when they have their phone just there at the end of the desk, they'll be calling them, can you bring my phone? Because they don't want to get up from their seat to stretch and get the phone. They'll be calling the girl, come and bring my phone to me. Right? And what you've got to understand is that especially and particularly right now in this time in the Arab states, they have them there literally like slaves.
Yeah.
Literally like slaves. So this is also where they have forced marriage. And the estimates are underestimated.
Yeah.
Right? So you're talking about underestimated. So you know that it's going to be way higher than that, but those are just the figures that they choose to give out. So you're talking about places like Lebanon, Kuwait, Qatar, well, UAE anyway, Saudi Arabia, so Riyadh and all of them places up
Oman,
under there,
everywhere.
Oman, Muscat, all of them. And when you talk about places like Saudi Arabia, you're talking hardcore business.
Yeah.
Everything is an argument for these people. Don't wear this, don't wear that, don't do this, don't do that. They don't even allow them even. Anyway, let me read you some of the things.
Yeah, they don't even allow them to give their own money and all foolishness like that. They can't go to the shops, they can't do this,
Listen to this. Listen to this story.
Yeah,
this is Beirut, Lebanon. When the 9 African women lost their jobs as domestic workers in Saudi Arabia because of the coronavirus lockdown, so that's recent, the agency that had recruited them stuffed them into a bare room with a few thin mattresses and locked them in. Right? And this is the agency. But you see, also many Africans are told time after time, and again, I'm saying it, stating it very clearly here, especially and particularly for anybody who will watch this and may tell some other African who is currently living in one of these African countries, Uganda, Ethiopia, Kenya, etc., Nigeria, who want to be sending people to these places, don't go. Do not go. Do not recommend for your family or friends to go, or your children. Do not go. You are putting yourself into trouble just because of a quick buck, and you're not even going to get the money. When I start reading you all the stories here, and I know some because I know people who are out there, sometimes they don't even get paid. You see? So you've got to understand that. Sometimes they don't even get paid. Right? Just seeing how much I've got left in charge. It's not a lot. We'll be all right for a bit. So they shut them into a room, locked them in. And some have been there since March. That's this year we're talking now. One of them is 6 months pregnant and receiving no maternity care. Another one became depressed and tore her clothes off in a fit of distress, so the agency chained her to a wall.
Oh, gosh.
This is now, this is 2020, right? This is not 1920, 1820, 1720, 1620, or 1520. This is now 2020. And they have chained her to the wall. This is what I'm saying. These are the Arab states. And these are black women who have gone there to work for them, and they are treating them like slaves. The women receive food once a day. And they don't know when they will get out from there, much less when they'll be able to return to their country. Everybody is in fear, said Apisaki from Kenya. The environment here is not good. No one will listen to our voice. Dozens of Kenyan women in Saudi Arabia have complained of not enough food, no rest, violence, even being threatened, tracked, and monitored, said Ruth Kakame, chairwoman of the National Domestic Workers Council, a Kenyan union. You're denied the use of your phone, so you're struggling, you're alone, and you've nowhere to turn. So they're not allowed to use their phones to ring home.
Yeah.
Because they know they're going to ring home and start telling the stories of what's really happening to them. Now, obviously, that's not everybody. Some of them do have their phones, but some of them they restrict them. They don't give them money. Then they switch off the Wi-Fi, or they don't allow them to have the Wi-Fi code, so they've got no use of the phone, and they don't keep money. There are stories, countless stories of women who tried to save money. So what they've done because they pay their wages, and the majority of them, they want to pay the wage into the bank. So there's one lady, she said the money was paid into the bank, as they try to do with most of them. So because they don't want them to have any cash to be able to just go leave or something, because they feel that once you're there, we own you. So if you've signed a contract for 2 or 3 years, we own you for those 2 or 3 years. So they even don't have a passport. They removed their passport. And that's how they kept there. So this particular lady, she had saved some money, which was her own money. What she had done, she kept going once a week. She was allowed to go out to go shopping for whatever, and she would get some of her money and she would start saving it in cash. So she had the cash, and she decided now that she's leaving. So they found out that she had money on her. So when they got to the police station, they said that she stole their money. And they told the police that whatever, and remember, this is Islamic states where the word of a woman is not believed over an Islamic man. So the man said she stole the money. So they got a female police officer to search her right down to her panties. And they found the money, and they took the money, and it was her own money that she had worked for and was given to her. They said, no, she stole it, and they took the money. Another one, the same thing happened almost, and that was in the house. The man said, you've stolen money. The woman said, no, I have my own money. The wife of the man searched the woman in the house down to her panties and took away her own money. This is 2020 in those Arab states.
Why are people going to work?
And we are sending our own black people to go there to work for those evil people. You see, this is now. I watched one the other day. I watched a woman. She had ran away from the house.
What, a documentary?
No,
Oh.
no. She was on Facebook live.
Hey.
She put her phone on live,
Mm.
and she jumped into a taxi, and she didn't even know where she was going.
Oh, wow.
She was hollering and screaming while she was just there filming herself, trying to get away. And this is now 2020. She just ran away from that family with nothing. And then they're there asking for help. There are families who have been asking. There was one family, they had no contact for several months with their daughter.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get hold of her. Everybody's trying to find out where she is. Nobody knew where she was. Nobody could find out anything. They got her body returned home to Kenya, dead. No discussion, no investigation. Her dead body was returned to the family. That's it. The Arabs had used her and abused her and killed her off.
Exactly. And why are our African leaders contending with such rubbish?
Well, the problem is not just the African leaders, it's the African people, Sarah. Because like now in Kenya, they've said that no Kenyans must go back.
Yeah, good.
So now any Kenyan who's there, when they come home to Kenya, they cannot get a visa to go there again.
Yeah.
But the problem is that people are still trying to circumvent that, because this is what I'm saying about the slavery mentality. You've got to know when somebody hates you, they just hate you,
Yeah.
and stand up against it and understand this is what it is. You don't like me, and I know you don't like me. And don't fool yourself. What is Tamar saying?
It's so disgusting to hear, and they paint United Arab States as a luxury and extravagant holiday destination. This is the reality, and this is obviously why Dubai is growing and advancing so fast because of the slavery.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dubai and Qatar and those places, they're advancing
Yeah.
because they've got black slaves there.
Yeah.
Because they've got the black Indians working there.
Yeah.
And when I say the black Indians, I mean South Indian
Yeah.
people, the black Indians.
Yeah.
They've got Africans there from Uganda, from Kenya, from Ethiopia, especially Nigerians, and they're there working like dogs. You understand? They have them there working like dogs. And basically, at the end of the day, they're the ones who are doing everything there.
Yeah.
Right? Whether
For the smallest pay ever.
yes, you might not see some of them up front. Like if you go to the airport,
Yeah.
and you're just seeing people on the front lines, you might not see them. But
Oh, they don't have those jobs.
every other job that's being done there,
Yeah.
it will be them.
Mhm.
So they might not be the one doing your immigration and things at the front. They might not be the one scanning you at the very front, but every other job, it is them.
Yeah.
And every family, they have them, and the ones in the family, those ones, they remove their passports and everything.
Yeah, immediately you get there, you're derobed completely. You're left with nothing.
And this is and this is now
Yeah.
2020. Right? It's not some far-fetched thing that was, years ago this was happening and now they've stopped. No, it's now. Right? This is the problem. This is what's going on now, and people need to understand. So what was I saying about this lady? So she said that she said from the beginning my employers were not friendly, said a Ugandan woman in Oman. Her salary of about $180 per month, which is nothing. At the beginning of the pandemic, her $180 a month salary, which is nothing anyway, was cut in half.
Gosh.
And her workload was increased. Her employers grew hostile. And then, she must still do the same work. Another one came from Kenya and found that she was pregnant. And she was kicked out and made to stay in the dormitory. And she cannot afford the $400 repatriation flight. And she's now 7 months pregnant. And she's stuck, locked in with 8 other women. So these are all the sort of stories that and the agencies will not help. One agency said they can help them. The last conversation with the Kenyan embassy in Riyadh, they announced repatriation flights, but they said that they must come up with their own $525 ticket. And when they get home, they must go into quarantine.
How are they getting home when those people owners are the ones with their monies and they're in a dormitory with nothing? How are they getting home? And this is what I mean. And this is the government that continues to fund and finance these things into existence.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying.
Because those girls are our own Kenyan people who are there suffering. And they could be your daughter, it could be anybody, your family that is out there struggling. Because I'm telling you now, if it was the British, they will get their people out of there very fast. No, Africans, you have to pay your own flight. And they
But
can
you
see
see-
they have been moved out of a house. They have got nothing with them.
But they're gonna tell them that they didn't send them there. See, this is the problem. And then you've got other stories. I mean, these are, we're finishing shortly, so I'm not going to stretch this too much because and there's nothing we talked about today that's even nice.
No.
It's distressing. But you imagine there are ladies who have gone there. There was one lady. This again, you can Google the story.
Yeah.
She went and the man of the house started being all nice, oh blah 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 blah. I like you, this and that. And the woman, unfortunately, she fell for his rubbish. So now the man has started his games with that lady until she got pregnant. When she got pregnant, he denied. Now remember, they don't come out of the house, right? They don't leave the house unless they're taken, because you know where they are. They're not. Where are they going to go?
Yeah.
And they go to Arab countries. They don't leave the house at any time unless they're taken. So that lady wasn't going anywhere. So if it wasn't the man of the house, it could have only been a driver or a gardener.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, he doesn't know what. She's pregnant. She's a prostitute.
A prostitute to walk it home.
Right. So
And she doesn't leave the house.
So they took her and they put her in jail.
Like,
You understand? They put her in jail.
so she was soliciting to who though?
Well, we don't know, but the woman died. The woman died. She died because they just left her there because they said she had sex with somebody and she's not married, and their Islamic law, blah blah blah. They left her there.
Yeah,
Right?
they're Islamic law, but they're raping all the house workers
No,
and
because they're
everything.
saying they don't do it, and
Ah, yeah.
and it's his word over yours, and he can't be a liar. Only the woman can be
Anyway.
a liar.
May
And
these
it doesn't
girls
seem-
here, wherever they are, do not go to these countries.
Well, I hope they hear, but if they're not hearing, they're going to feel. And this is the unfortunate thing, because this is what they do. They lock them up.
And coming back home in a coffin. So what's the benefit?
Another one. They were a couple, but they because they both wanted to get into the UAE, they had to fix their story. So obviously they've been caught doing their things. They put them in prison, and they had to appeal all the way back to India. These ones were Indians, to get the proof, to prove and show that they were married and that they actually were a couple. And they kept them locked up until they got all of everything. They refused. And yet there are many stories of the men of the house who are raping off these women. And by the time any of them become pregnant, or either they put them in jail if they can, or what they do, suddenly they buy a ticket and she's sent home. So she's sent home with that pregnancy. What did Tamar say?
How can you even survive as a mindless slave? This is exactly why they keep the women oppressed, because they want to continue their nastiness without any consequences.
Well, of course it is.
Here it is. I've always said that.
Of course it is. That's exactly the whole point of it. And they do it because, as far as they're concerned, they cannot be a liar. So if the woman now says, no, he raped me, they say, no, there's no such thing. Because what they then turn around and say is, no, he didn't rape her. She enticed him. And because she enticed him, she forced him to do whatever. This is the only come down. And some of them won't even say that. But even if they're caught out and they want to say, well, okay, it wasn't quite like that, that's the most that they'll say is that, okay, she enticed me and she made me do it. And then it's the blame is still on the woman because you enticed him. Then they'll say, no, well, you know how they're supposed to dress, and one day she was wearing something too tight or some rubbish. They'll use some trash talk to satisfy that conversation. But they want Africans there on purpose. They want African women. And the men, they want the African women there because they want to have sex with them. They know what they're doing. And then turn around and blame them And people are going there, even Christians are going there pretending that they're Muslims. You must be crazy. Anyway, my head is battered. This is all, it's heavy, heavy stuff today.
Yeah.
You know, none of it is nice, but it's all true. It's all real. It's all the truth. Any of what we've said that you want to challenge, go Google, bring us the information, challenge anything you like. But I'm telling you, all of what we're bringing to you is truth and reality, you know. And the biggest issue about all of this that I'm saying, and next week we're going to conclude by God's grace, part 3 next week. Black people need to learn to treat each other and themselves better than how they do. Respect each other more than what we do. Treat each other better than how we do.
Yeah.
Right? We are the worst of the worst when it comes to that. We can't conglomerate on anything nicely. Everything we do is always fighting against each other. Right? We're at war with each other all the time. You know, and when it comes to now, you'll be looking at your fellow black man for support. There's none. Who sent you there? Who told you to do that? You're in a problem now. That is your problem. We need to stop all that. We need to do far better for one another than how we do. God bless everyone. See you next week. We're gone.
Bye, everyone.